you don't care, no. You just don't care, no. I don't wanna play, baby, I'm just fine. I don't need you anymore.
For content information and the link to the written version of this video, please check the description below. If you hear a whirring sound in the background, that is my fan because it is boiling hot in here and I am melting. Anyway, let's get on with the video. This video is part of my Under the Queer Umbrella series, but it will be structured slightly differently. Instead of going over different non-binary identities, which I'll be doing in a future entry, this video will be discussing what being non-binary means. In the last part, I spoke about the history of the non-binary community, including the discussion of historical figures who may have been non-binary. And in this part, I will be celebrating famous non-binary and or gender-fluid celebrities who do so much for our community, discussing representation in media and literature, and my own personal experience of being non-binary. We have a lot to discuss, so let's get right into this video. Please consider supporting me on my Patreon, my Patreon, on Cash App, and by donating to my GoFundMe, you will directly help with my transition costs, which I'll be ever grateful for, and please consider subscribing. Also, my commissions are open, and if you would like more information on that, please email me with the email down below. Disclaimer. I've gone into this entry with the intention to educate and celebrate the beauty of non-binary identities. If I've gotten any information wrong, please feel free to let me know in the comments, and I will amend the blog version of this video where needed. You can, by clicking on any of the links in the description below, you will be directed to the Wikipedia page which corresponds with the celebrity that I speak of, or character. Wikipedia, of course, is not the most accurate website, but it is a good starting point. I recommend going to the resources section at the bottom of the wiki page and starting your own research journey from there. Last week was Non-Binary Awareness Week, which is what this video is for, but unfortunately I was unable to release it on the weekend because I had some health problems. But anyway, let's get on with this video. Non-binary celebrities and pop culture icons. In the last part, we learned how the non-binary community got to the point it is at now. But rest assured, history is still very much being made. With the access to the internet, it's become so much easier for individuals to learn about and understand their own identities. In this next section, we will be discussing just a few notable celebrities that have in recent times opened up about their gender identities. These pop culture icons use their platforms to spread information about the non-binary community to more individuals than at any other point in history. These celebrities risk their careers and reputation in order to live as their authentic selves, and that is nothing to be scoffed at. With great platforms comes great responsibility and tremendous amounts of stress from cruel individuals who love nothing more than to dig their talents into any who don't fit their view of the world. This is just a handful of celebrities, but I would love to know who your favourite non-binary, genderqueer or gender-fluid celebrities are in the comments, and if I receive enough responses, I may make an entry dedicated solely to non-binary celebrities. Without further ado, let's get into this list. Amanda Stenberg, born October 23rd, 1998. Publicly came out as non-binary in 2016. Pronouns, she, her, and they, them. Best known for playing Rue in the Hunger Games franchise, Amanda is open about being non-binary, how she doesn't feel like a woman all the time, and how she doesn't need to use neutral pronouns to feel comfortable with who she is. After backlash of adopting the pronouns they, them, Amanda spoke out and said, "I'm allowed to explore myself and how I see myself in the world, however the F I want." And she is absolutely right. We should all be allowed to be free to explore who we are. It doesn't matter how old you are or whether you're young or not. We are all on a journey finding things about ourselves. We will never know who we are unless we explore. This world needs more Amandas in it. Demi Lovato, born August the 10th, 1992. Publicly came out as non-binary May 19th, 2021. Pronouns, they, them. Demi is the most recent person on our list to have come out, but that hasn't stopped them from having a huge positive impact on the non-binary community as a whole. Demi is still in the process of understanding who they are. They admit that they are still learning and they don't claim to be an expert or a spokesperson for the community. This is something we should all admire. Trust me, coming out as non-binary is no easy task. I'll get more into my experience later in the century. But to come out to an already established fan base, risking losing fans and that have been supporting you for years, losing job opportunities and possibly damaging how far you've come in your career, are real fears any public figure has to consider when coming out as queer. Demi understood this and despite it all came out knowing they would be freer to be who they are. When coming out as a queer person in the public eye, there are many who do expect you to be a spokesperson for your newfound community and family. What we need to remember is that celebrities are people, and just like any other person, they don't have all the answers. Demi is open about how coming out has opened a whole other level of vulnerability for them, and this is something that can only be seen as a beautiful thing. Most recently, Demi has been seen speaking out about how it's okay to get things wrong, especially when it comes to using their personal pronouns, and how it's all about the intention behind it. This is something I wholeheartedly agree with. Demi continues to be an inspiration to the entire queer community, or as they like to call us, the Alphabet Mafia, not just after coming out as non-binary, but also because of everything they have been through. This person has gone through so much during their life and deserves nothing but love. Elliot Page, born February the 21st, 1987, publicly came out as trans and non-binary on December the 1st, 2020. Pronouns, he, him, and they, them. It's impossible to go anywhere on the internet without hearing the name Elliot Page, and for good reason. He is truly one of the most influential trans figures in modern history. Elliot touched us all when they came out late last year. Their coming out message was just so pure and from the heart that it's hard to imagine how any individual would see that and choose to be hateful. Those individuals unfortunately do exist, and Elliot made it clear he was very aware of their existence, but their poisonous tongues are nothing compared to the so many individuals that love Elliot for being who they are. Elliot's coming out has done so much to spread awareness about the act of dead naming, after many fans immediately accepted Elliot's name. This was truly something that touched me personally. I'll get more into it later, but as someone who is dead named every day by those in my family, it is so heartwarming to see so many come together to make Elliot feel as comfortable and welcome as possible. Recently, Elliot has been seen showing off his body after his top surgery, and all I can say is that this individual is beautiful outside and in. Janelle Monáe, born December the 1st, 1985, pronouns she, her. In 2020, Janelle responded to a tweet with the hashtag #IamNonBinary. This set the internet into a frenzy, questioning whether or not Janelle had come out as a non-binary individual. Janelle later confirmed that she used the hashtag as a way of showing her support to the community, and then later went on to say how she feels her feminine energy, masculine energy, and energy she can't even explain. Non-binary or not, it's always amazing to see people looking in on that, what the gender means to them. That's why I wanted to include Janelle on this list. She represents how we should all think on what gender means to us and what it feels like. Olly Alexander, born 15th July 1990. Pronouns, he, him. Olly has been in the news recently as a possible candidate for playing the next Doctor on the long-running series Doctor Who. Olly is a huge activist. He's known for spreading information about HIV/AIDS, being a huge advocate for queer and disabled rights, and he is generally just an awesome person. In one interview, Olly stated, "I feel very non-binary, and I identify as gay and queer and non-binary." And that's awesome, isn't it? We should all be able to speak so proudly of who we are and what we feel, and I'm so happy for Olly showing us how great it feels to do just that. Sam Smith, born 19th May 1992. Publicly came out as genderqueer in October 2017. Pronouns, they, them. Sam Smith is one of the most influential non-binary people in the world right now. Sam is an open book when it comes to speaking about being non-binary. They've spoken about their struggles with body image since their preteen years, as well as describing their decision to come out as an end to a lifetime of war with their gender. I admit that their music isn't always my cup of tea, but I would be lying if I wasn't hugely inspired to start questioning my own gender identity after they came out, and for that they will always be important to me, and I'm certain to many others out there. Before we continue with this video, if you're enjoying it, please consider supporting me on Patreon. For just £1 a month, you'll get to see all my videos a day earlier than they're released publicly. That's just £1 a month for early access to my videos and exclusive content. And the link to my Patreon is down below. Now back to the video. Non-binary representation in media and literature. Now we've taken a look at some of the community's celebrity role models, I think it's time we take a look at some non-binary representation in media and literature. Representation isn't always perfect, but it's nice to celebrate the little representation we have. I would love to know what non-binary characters are your favourites. Alex Fierro, Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard. Alex is a gender-fluid demigod and one of the main characters in Rick Riordan's Magnus Chase series, making his first appearance in Gods of Asgard. Alex is the child of Loki and possesses many of her parents' shape-shifting abilities. Alex's portrayal has been praised as an honest approach to the character's gender-fluid identity. Alex switches between masculine and feminine genders and goes by the pronouns that match with the form of expression he is taking at the time, as opposed to using neutral pronouns such as they/them. Bloodhound, Apex Legends. Bloodhound is a playable legend in Apex Legends and the first non-binary character introduced in the game. Garnet, Steven Universe. Garnet is a fusion formed by two gems named Ruby and Sapphire, who chose to remain permanently fused together out of love for one another. Ruby and Sapphire, according to human terminology, would be considered to be non-binary, which is why I included Garnet on this list. Klaus Hargreeves, The Umbrella Academy. Klaus is one of the 7 children that grew up in the Umbrella Academy. Klaus uses the pronouns he, him, and they/them, and described as being neither male nor female. Klaus has the power to commune with the dead, which led them on a path to drugs and alcohol. The character is one of my personal favourite non-binary characters because they are just so charismatic and fun, stealing the show whenever they are on screen. Loki Laufeyson, Loki. Loki is the god of mischief, brother of Thor, adopted son of Odin, and main star of his own Disney Plus Marvel series. Loki is confirmed to be gender fluid in the comics, and many fans were pleased to know he was confirmed to be gender fluid in the MCU, even though the information revealing such said sex in place of gender, which is a pet peeve of mine. Loki was also confirmed to be M-Spec, so yay, double win for the queer community. Yivo, Futurama, the beast of a billion backs. Yivo is a being from another universe which uses the pronoun Shgli. I wanted to include Shglem here since I'm a huge Futurama fan and I somewhat found myself relating to Yivo. Don't ask me how, but I just did, and I love Shglem for that. My personal experience of being part of the community. As promised, I want to talk a little about my own experience being part of the non-binary community. First of all, if you have just found my blog and videos, let me introduce myself. My name is JJ, and my pronouns are they, them, it, its, or that. It might be cliche to say I always knew I was different, but it's true. In school, when the class was split into boys and girls, I stood in the middle confused. My whole life I've never stated I was a girl or a boy, and every time I'd have one of those terms placed upon me, I just felt confused, knowing something wasn't right. There are hundreds of signs that I am non-binary littered throughout my past, and it's so easy to look back and go, oh, that's why I did that, which is something I do a lot. My gender had always been in question, but I didn't know any terms other than what was given to me. I'd always be intrigued by celebrities that defied gender norms, but they always unnerved me, and now I realise they unnerved me because they were me, or at least who I was inside. I've always had problems with my body image, but for years I had no idea why. There are parts of me that I know just aren't meant to be there, and until they are gone, I know I will never truly be able to exist as myself. That doesn't mean that I haven't come to accept my identity in other ways. I first used the term non-binary for myself last year and adopted the pronouns they/them. Coming out to my family didn't go well. My mother was disgusted with me and refused to call me by my name. My dad was no better, trying to encourage me to just accept that my mum didn't agree with my identity, and I would love to say that I put my foot down, but I couldn't. I was too hurt by it. The rest of my family embraced my new name quickly, and eventually my parents did too, but they still haven't accepted my pronouns. I'm always learning new things about my gender identity and adding new terms. Now I know I'm trans and a-binary among other labels. I'm so thankful for the community and my friends that accepted me as who I am and continue to support me on my journey. That's as much as I'm comfortable sharing in this moment. It's been a long weekend writing this entry, and honestly I'm shattered. So thank you for listening to my part of the story. So that was it for this rather long video series celebrating non-binary identity. We will be discussing the aromantic spectrum, better known as Arospec, soon, as well as plenty more queer content to come. Please do your own research alongside these entries, and until next time, happy Disabled Month, and I hope you enjoyed Non-Binary Awareness Week over the weekend. Consider subscribing to see more content like this. I am aiming to get 75 subscribers by the end of July, so if you could help me with that, I would be very appreciative. At the moment, I've got 10 to go, and I know that we can do it. So again, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing to support my channel, and for your other ways of supporting me. Until next time, bye.